Today, our show will start from here. We will take you around the nation to have a glimpse of the customs in Laba festivals. And I will start from Tianjin. I am now in the ancient culture street. This architecture next to me has about 108 years of history. And also I have a guest with me from Tianjin Archive, Vice Director Yang Zhongda. Good morning, everyone, and I give my best wishes in Tianjin. Today is the Laba Festival. Have you had your porridge? Please follow us to have a look at the porridge we prepared. Speaking of Laba porridge, it is custom in all China. If you're living in northern China, you may know more about the local customs in Tianjin. Now we will enter into this tea house to see what the chef has prepared for us. And let's see if it's the same as it is in your own home. This is the kitchen, and now let's step inside. Hello, Mr. Chef. How about our porridge? It's almost done. Now let's have a look. I see different grains inside. What are inside? Our chef has prepared all those seasonings and the raw materials. We have the green beans, the sticky rice, the black rice. The sticky rice is from southern China. That's the longan. Please remember to peel the longan off. That's the dates and the medlar, and also the peanuts and lotus nuts. There are a lot of food inside. Speaking of Laba porridge, it seems that the ingredients may differ in every home. I have a neighbor, an old granny. Every year, she would try her best to get at least 100 different raw materials for the porridge. So it depends. 20 or 100 are both okay. I see now in this porridge, there are over 10 different ingredients, but basically we have beans, fruits, and rice, different varieties of rice, including corns, sticky rice, and as to the other types of grains, they could be all accepted in the porridge. Also, we have the dates, the lotus seeds, longan, and medlar, and also some dried fruits. And here there are different types of beans, like green beans, red beans, black beans, and so on. In this bowl, that's the already dipped raw materials. Those raw materials have been dipped for at least 8 hours. So, for example, the rice will be blown up. And when we cook them and boil them over the stove, they will taste more smooth. So we have to dip them in the water for some hours before cooking. Particularly like lotus seeds, peanuts, sticky rice, black rice, and so on. They require certain time of dipping in the water so that when they are boiled, they taste softer. Shall we use warm water or cold water to dip them? We recommend you to use the cold water. Why? Cold water will not undermine the internal structure of the beans and rice. It will maintain the nutrients inside to the maximum, so we recommend you to dip them in cold water. So please keep that in your mind. When you are dipping the raw materials, you have to dip them in the cold water for 8 hours. What about the boiling time? It takes some efforts. You have to boil them for at least 4 hours. If you don't have that much time, shorten it to at least 2 hours. I have a question on behalf of our viewers. Can we use the usual pot to cook the porridge? You need to guarantee enough time of boiling them. You can use the electric pot, of course. In the rural areas, they will use a big iron and steel pot. They will get up very early at about 4 to 5 o'clock to boil the porridge, just like me this morning. So for such a porridge with rich flavor, it takes efforts and time. So may I ask you to get us some of your porridge? Thank you. Speaking of the porridge, previously we eat whatever we get, but now whatever we want, we can eat it. That is a manifestation of our wealthier life. We are now in a well-off society after all. We have abundant offerings, including the grains and daily necessities. To put it simply, the origin of Laba porridge is related with Buddhism. There are several sources. Some are official stories, some are indicating the porridge being enjoyed in the temples. Of course, the common people eat porridge as well, but previously, in winter time, those usual households do not have enough storage of grains. Unlike today, we could get access to all types of grains in the supermarkets, but previously it was all snowy outside, and inside the houses, usually the common people could not have enough grains. They will try their best to get some grains and just cook whatever they have. So that's our previous life, but now it's reversed. We can have whatever we want. Now, in the supermarkets, when we are searching for the required, there is an offering of all the ingredients for the Laba porridge. They are already prepared by the supermarket. If you want to add some more ingredients, be your own guest. If I want to cook porridge for a family of 3 to 4, I just get a handful of the ingredients into the pot, and then I can have a full pot of porridge. In the ancient times, they really cook a lot of porridge, several pots together. For example, in the temples, they offer the porridge to monks, so they have to cook a lot. For example, there was a man named Xia Renhu. living to the 1960s. He wrote a poem about setting up a pot in Yonghe Palace, and the emperor and his mother will enjoy the first pot, and the second pot was cooked for Buddha, and then the third pot was offered to the officials in the palace, and then it came to Lama, and the rest of the porridge was given to the common people. That's about the imperial cities' customs. For the other cities in China in ancient times, they also have the same customs. For the common people, they usually cook porridge for not just that one day. They freeze them, and then they can enjoy the porridge by setting up the fire later on and melting the porridge. They need to mix the porridge a lot, otherwise there may be some ice cubes inside. So Laba porridge for common people in ancient times was not just for one festival, it's for their daily food. Since you have told us that the porridge was given to a lot of people on the festival and the common people ranked the last, but now it's a different story. Now, in the temples, they still have the traditional custom of giving the porridge to monks. But previously, offering the porridge to monks was also one way of improving the lives of people. Now we can see we are turning to another food, laba garlic and vinegar. We mix vinegar and garlic together. That's another ritual we usually have for the Laba Festival. The vinegar and the garlic are locally produced. This vinegar has a long history, and the garlic was produced in Baodi district of Tianjin city. We call it the red garlic. We also have prepared a cabbage. A cabbage has a meaning of good fortune. In my childhood, my aunt was putting some cabbages into the mixture of vinegar and garlic. She cut the cabbage into different slices. We could eat dumplings with this snack. I asked my colleague from Beijing, who told me he shared similar customs. So, not for me actually, even though I'm a Tianjin local. So every household may differ in customs. But after all, dipping the garlic in the vinegar is a tradition. We want to give you one example, but it's very difficult to peel off so many garlic for the two pots. Such a glass pot is also a universal custom because it's transparent. When I was young, we used such glass bottles. Same here in Tianjin. When I was young, we used similar glasses, but it's much bigger, 4 to 5 times more larger. And when I was young, our family was bigger in size compared with today. And also we use the glass bottles because they're more transparent, it's more visible. With time passing by, we can see the change of the garlic. Usually, before the Spring Festival, it was 3 weeks' time dipping the garlic in the vinegar, and at that moment, when the Spring Festival came, the garlic will look transparent and they're tasteful. Now let's get started with our work. The glasses are already cleaned, and so are the garlic. Now we are wearing our pairs of gloves. Let's see if that's enough. I will ask our chef to cut the cabbage. Doing this reminds me of a story in my textbook when I was a student. It's about a crow putting the stones into a pot, and there was water inside, so when the stones were thrown in, the water level rose up. That's the same thing with the vinegar. I will not fulfill the bottles with too many garlic, otherwise the vinegar was nowhere to be added. You see, we have a lot of garlic. I will usually try to put half of all them into the pot. Yesterday I asked people how many garlic are required, and they cannot tell. It's based on their experience. To peel off the garlic, you can see the root. Since the garlic was not freshly gotten out of the soil, it's easier to peel off. The cabbages are already cut. And the next one, starting from the head or the end, it's easy to peel off. We ate the garlic in the eve of Spring Festival when we were young, but now it seems to be earlier. Because now the indoor temperature is warmer than when we were young. We will see the change of the garlic's color before the eve of the Spring Festival. Sometimes people eat the garlic after 2 to 3 days of making them, and they will add more garlic into the vinegar with the time passing by. For example, I will add more vinegar into the pot after half a year, and we will replenish the garlic as well. Our photographer is praising me, saying that I am quite experienced in doing this. You're displaying how this is done. I'm really having good hands. We also need to wash the garlic and then dry them and then put them into the pots. So the vinegar will not be diluted by water. Also, by washing the garlic, it will be cleaner. I've just done so little compared to you. Our viewers may have questions. We welcome you to interact and leave your questions to us. So, in this live show, we will only peel off this much, and now let's wash them in the kitchen. We're now washing the garlic, and this is the porridge. The porridge is still being boiled. We're now washing out the soil and also the peels of the garlic. If you have other tools to wash them clean, it's better. For example, the tool called 篦子. Some of our viewers say that the garlic must be dried before washing them. Actually, we have a different sequence of the steps. We also need to dry them, and our way is to use some kitchen tissue. That's my experience. I put the garlic in the tissues and now I dry the garlic with the tissues. The tissues will absorb the water in. Now you can have a look. The garlic is dry. The tissues have very good functionality. This method is helpful for those in a hurry to make this food. Of course, if you're not in a hurry and you have enough time, it's better to dry them outside under the sun. So today, we make two types of garlic, one with cabbages, the other without. In the eve of the Spring Festival, you can open this bottle the garlic is floating up in the vinegar. So the method is quite simple. But some questions from our viewers are about the ratio of vinegar to garlic. It depends. If you prefer spicy flavor, add more garlic. If you prefer sour taste, more vinegar. In this pot, we put some cabbages. Now I am putting the cabbages on top of the garlic, so we will eat the cabbage first and later, and then the garlic. That's about right. And now the vinegar. Even though the cabbages fill this bottle up, the vinegar can still be added. They will flow in from the edges. Now let's cap them. Also, a pointer for you. When we are eating the jarred food, you may encounter this, that sometimes the cap is very hard to be opened because during the fermentation process, gases will be released. So the caps are quite tight on this bottle. So you can use something to knock on the cap. When you hear a pooping sound, then it's easier to open it. How about we add more vinegar to this bottle? Since we use those jars, usually there will be some signs. For example, how many grams. You will know how much vinegar can be added. So just now, we showed you the preparation of Laba porridge and the garlic. It's just the beginning. We will have more to present to you. Next, my colleague from Hebei province will show you the other customs of Laba Festival. There is one company in Hebei. Every day it's busy doing one thing. What is it? My colleague will show you. So that's all for my part. Thank you for watching. Dear CCTV viewers, now you are watching a charity company in Hebei province. Why are we doing this show in this charity restaurant? Because the epidemic is still getting worse in Hebei province, and in Huangzhong there is one quarantine stop here. And how will the staff members spend their festival of Laba? And the Laba porridge will be sent to the workers on the site of the construction to spend the festival. When we are doing the live show about the epidemic in Shijiazhuang, you know that many people are staying at home. Some of them are cleaning their houses. They say that the festival has to be celebrated even though the epidemic is plaguing. Some enterprises consider the welfare of their employees, so we are now entering this restaurant. With the onset of this epidemic, this restaurant is not closed down. 15 restaurants are open in Shijiazhuang City. Now, since we have the epidemic with them, every day there are some confirmed cases. So this company has done very good sanitation and disinfection job and are still opening the restaurant. And it's only open to some designated hospitals, for example, number 5th hospital of Zhijiazhuang, and also Huangzhuang apartment quarantine station. So, such restaurants are contributing to epidemic control. As I said, the employees of these restaurants are still on posts. There are 300 of them. They have at least completed 2 rounds of nucleic acid testing. They are safe. We found no positive case. For safety is concerned, there will be disinfection process before entrance of the door, and then the second round of disinfection before entering the kitchen. This is the entrance. There is 1 square for disinfection. I'm standing here. Body temperature check. 36.2 degrees. Disinfection of my hands. Basically, in every place we have to do this registration. Once there are some problem, we could find it out as early as possible. For example, any positive or confirmed case. Now, Shijiazhuang is searching for 100 close contacts and 50 contacts of those people. So such a registration makes it easier for discovery. This restaurant is rather safe because there is no confirmed case. 300 staff members are on posts to guarantee enough food supply for the workers on the site of construction of that quarantine stop. So mind your steps. Since the start of the epidemic, no people eat in the restaurants, but many staff members are still busy inside. They are cooking for the workers and the hospital staff, and also there will be charity vehicles helping the restaurant to send the food. We have invited Mr. Li, the general manager of this charity restaurant. Hello everyone. I am a cool guy responsible for this restaurant. He's wearing facial mask. He's actually a volunteer. I've opened restaurants for 20 years time. Now I am turning to be a volunteer. Now let's see what are our staff members doing. Since it's Laba Festival today, the porridge is done. They're packaging the porridge. We have a special requirement today because we want to send the porridges to the construction site. We must guarantee that in every bowl of porridge there will be at least 1 or 2 dates. To guarantee that, we specially have such a process of adding dates into the porridges. When did they start the work? 4 in the morning. Now let's see what's inside the porridge. Sticky rice, dates, red beans, and peanuts. A lot of ingredients. Yesterday, I was talking with the chef about it. We want to make sure that the porridge will be different than before. We must guarantee the preparation process, for example, enough boiling time. Then we can guarantee the taste. And the ingredients will be mixed to the full in the boiling time. I'm smelling the fragrance, even with the facial mask. The dates are a must. It's nutrient. This morning I tasted it. It's very sweet. According to Mr. Li, every bowl of porridge is guaranteed with at least one date. We cook porridges at home, but we can't even guarantee that there is at least one date in the bowl. What hit you with the idea about sending the porridges to the construction site? I was impressed. The construction workers got the duty with short notice. Under tough conditions, they were working day and night. We want to do our best to offer them a good meal. So, in terms of the ingredients, to the different varieties of meals, we do our best. That's why we have a high satisfaction feedback. According to Mr. Li, the workers eat food from this restaurant. Our staff members over here are packaging the meal for lunch. That's our chief chef. He's the big boss about the meals. Have a look. Do you want to eat them? That's fish. That's the pig feet. What's your principle? First, enough meat, and then vegetables. We must have a balanced nutrients. Because construction workers consume a lot of energy, so the food must have enough energy and nutrients with a mixture of meat and vegetables. And now you see mushrooms and eggs. That's why we have good feedback. Some commented on my TikTok account. They are quite happy. It's already a dozen of days. They could have meat and vegetables together. That's really good. Now the epidemic seems to be controlled to a large degree, and the materials can be supplied. Where is your food coming from? We procure them from different wholesale market. Now there is sufficient supply of the raw materials, so we can get access to them. Fish, meat, eggs, vegetables, it's no problem. So supply guarantee is done. And that's the rice produced in northeastern China. The temperature on the construction site is very low. The workers are still fighting there for 7 days in a row. Maybe in the noontime the temperature rises up, but still they are eating outdoor. How can you guarantee the hot meals? Last year we had a 1 year experience of fighting the epidemic, so we bought a lot of such insulation boxes. like this. Standardized insulation boxes. We place it over there, and it can keep the food warm for at least 3 hours. It's already full. They're still warm. The temperature can be kept about this for 3 hours. Yes, at least 3 hours. We have a saying doing the restaurant. Once the food is warm, it's better than just being fresh. Some construction workers have nowhere to sit. They just squat there to eat the meal. I think it's very important for them to eat hot food. In addition, the staff members from the designated hospitals also have meals from you. Yes. Number 15th hospital last year was the designated hospital. The 5th hospital, and the staff members in the 5th hospital worked very hard. Since 7th January this year, they put themselves into this war again. Since I've done 15 years of catering business, so from the raw materials to the packaging and the whole process, I have learned stringent measures of quality control. That's why you see that this process is streamlined and it's very efficient. Many restaurants don't even have such packaging boxes. That's why we are recognized by people. I also want to highlight, in this time, one key point is food safety. You see, all our staff members have done 2 rounds of nucleic acid testing. The results were all negative. 2 days ago, some of our staff started the 3rd round of testing. Today, all of them can finish the testing for the 3rd round. After all, they are the source of food supply, so we must have the social responsibility and have the safety check. People are wearing gloves and all the protective equipment. It's very stringent. That's very critical. And the front line is critical too. The social workers and the medical staff, they work in the front line. They must have food safety. So since the food will be sent to the construction site, who will be the delivery man? Here comes our volunteers. We can see people wearing the protective clothes in Shijiazhuang, and usually we call this type of workers as the bad man. You will be the delivery man later, yes. Since you will send the food to the construction site and you're very busy with your work, so we will interview you later. And our staff members in the restaurant are preparing the meal. According to Mr. Li, in such cold temperature, they want to try their best to warm the construction workers. We will follow them to the construction site later on. Why? On the construction site, since the 13th, the workers entered the site. Now, it's already the 7th day of construction. 4,000 construction workers have been working around the clock so as to finish this quarantine site. Our Baymax, the delivery man, is putting the porridges into the insulation boxes. There are 4 locks of the insulation box, so the temperature is kept. We prepared 800 porridges sent to about 3 sites. There were 370 porridges in this time, because the total number varies with the time. In the beginning, we were informed about the number of 300, but then it changed to 370. So it's really like wartime. It changes every minute. We will do our best to prepare as much as possible in case the need increases. Mr. Li is quite reasonable. He talked about food safety in the time of epidemic control. My question is, for a restaurant in this special time, what's your responsibility? The restaurants are bearing the brunt in the epidemic, actually, to be honest. We didn't think that much. As long as we can do something for our city with our due contribution, we want to do more. Our volunteers and staff members are fighting this war shoulder by shoulder, and we discuss a lot. Maybe years after, we are very proud to say that in this war we have done something. Such pride is natural. It's much more important than making money. So we are working around the clock. We don't think about making money. I don't know how our viewers are feeling hearing this, but as a reporter reporting such news for about a dozen of days, and hearing Mr. Li saying about giving due contribution, I do want to have my thumbs up to him. For the 300 staff members in this restaurant, they deserve our thumbs up. It is thanks to them getting up early at 4 o'clock in the morning and sacrificing so as to guarantee that the frontline workers can have a bite of warm food. Some are packaged already, since there is a total requirement of 800 porridges today. And as to meals for lunch, it's another 3,000 to 5,000. That's a huge workload. So many workers on the site. Even though eating inside the restaurant is forbidden now, it's still busy because of the staff members. The kitchen must be busy as well. Now let's have a look. Many lights are turned off. As long as it can have enough lighting for the staff members' work, it's okay. Please lead us to the kitchen. I see some signs on the door. It's about the distancing between two people before entering. Now, disinfection. We are quite used to disinfection in Shijiazhuang City. Our photographer is being disinfected as well before entering the kitchen. Here is a table of disinfectants. I see the wet tissues, the gloves, thermometer.
括其实这次疫情，相信大家如果关心这个河北不怕麻烦，这个时候是为了大家共同的安全。好，好。
It's for the safety of all.
包括其实这次疫情，我们能够看到，包括婚宴呀，然后是一个高频的词汇，所以其实在这个餐厅里，要格外的注意这样的一个安全哈。
In this restaurant,
我们为什么镜头现在停止？
safety matters the
戴
most.
头套，这是每一个进入的人在这种时候都需要做的一个事情，所以真的不能怕麻
Our
烦。
photographer is wearing
哇，这个后厨真的是更热闹。
this protective hat as well.
看见没有？这些都是净菜，全部准备好的。
It's
有
hustling
油麦菜，
and
还
bustling
有
here
木
in the
耳。
kitchen. I see a lot of vegetables, mushrooms.
我们看这儿还有鱼和虾。
对。
You don't come here a lot. I also see shrimps and fish.
然后这些厨
I seldomly come into the
他们的工
kitchen
作强度非常大。就是为什么大家说我们的饭好吃呢？大家看到是这样。
They are under huge pressure.
小锅
People say our food is delicious
他弄出来，它是小锅炒，它不一样。
而且一餐
because, as you see, our cook cooked the food in small pots, not a big one,
鸡蛋是不是都用小锅做出来？
and they cook from morning till night. For example, they are cooking mushrooms together with eggs in small pots,
这边炒，
so they have to cook
就像一个
more times
叫有条
in order to have a certain amount of food supply.
小锅炒出来一定比这个大锅熬出来的要好吃。
包括我们能看到，在这种时候，然后这个锅里
Of
它
course
是一
it's
个
more
虾仁儿，好
delicious.
像。
还在做虾仁儿。
This one is cooking shrimps.
那刚刚说到了，我们是在一家鱼香辣婆婆的餐饮企业，而现在疫情的时候呢，河北石家庄的很多的餐馆都已经是关门了。
This restaurant is called 鱼香辣婆婆. Many restaurants are closed during the epidemic in Shijiazhuang, and this restaurant has 15 outlets, but it's still working. This restaurant had enough experience last year about sending the meals to the designated hospital. Now there is one construction site building the quarantine station, so this restaurant is cooking the meal for the workers on the site. This morning, the staff members got up very early to cook the porridge so that our site workers can have a taste of this festival. They must be warmed. Yes, laba porridge must be warm. You will do the delivery yourself on the site, right? Yes. What's your feeling about the workers? I have to be there.
志愿者的车全部用上了。完了，这两天去这个工地，真的他们很。
Even the volunteers' vehicles are used.
跟随镜头可以看到，
They are very busy doing the delivery.
其实，人是铁，饭是钢。
Later on, you will see the construction site.
吃饱了好奋斗，吃饱了好干活啊。
Food is the necessity for people. Once they are full, they could dive themselves into this fight. The workers are trying their best to finish the construction as early as possible, so that the quarantine station can be put into operation earlier. The Shijiazhuang city is doing the third round of nucleic acid testing as well. For every positive sample, 100 close contacts must be quarantined, and 15 contact persons of the 100 close contacts must be checked as well. So such a quarantine station is very paramount. We came here this morning and saw that the porridges were done, and now the packaging is still ongoing, and the dates are added later on into every one of them. According to Mr. Li, they guarantee that there will be at least one date in each one package. The date is sweet. I believe the workers must feel sweet. I asked for this yesterday especially, because I want the workers to spend an extraordinary Laba Festival. The essence of the laba porridge is different grains and peanuts, and date plays a critical role here in the porridge. The majority of people prefer eating the dates, and we see that eating 3 dates per day gives you health. So I especially asked for this. So we boil the dates first, and then we add the dates in after. Eating porridge is a custom on this day. For the workers on the construction site, to enjoy the porridge is extraordinary. The sweetness is shared with the workers. We will follow the delivery later on, and let's just call it a day for this part of the show. And now let's give the floor to our influencer about the customs in other places. Happy Laba Festival. I am Lao Fangu. I am 2白. And on the opposite side, that's Hua Hua. Hello there. Happy Festival. We are Hua Hua. And Wang Dazhi. Say hello. Hi there. What are you cooking today? It's Laba Festival today, so we want to cook porridge. What about you? We are also cooking porridges, but it's salty. Actually, I love salty porridge, but for me myself, I prefer sweet one. So let's exchange. Now let's have a look at the ingredients. Beans, rice, beans, black beans, dates, peanuts, walnuts, lotus seeds, longan meat, dried grapes, and different types of sugar, and sauce. Many of those ingredients are your favorite, right, kid? I also hope that you like it as well. Of course I do. I love the sweet porridge. Do you like the dried grapes? Of course, I eat the dried grapes a lot. I love it as well. How about we introduce our ingredients? Corn, beans, mushrooms, preserved meat, carrots, and mushrooms, and cordyceps flour. Now let's cook them. Let's begin. We put the beans first. The green beans and the kidney beans, dates, peanuts,
栗子，哦，丰富多彩啊，核桃仁儿，瓜子仁儿，哎，莲子。
walnuts, melon seeds,
哎，
lotus seeds.
然后其他的几位呢，等会儿我把这米洗一洗，也放进去。
I will wash the others before putting them in.
高粱米，
倒进去，对，倒进去。
哎，我们紫糯米，
哎，这都洗好了，这都。
Sorghum rice, black rice,
小米， 没有什么
quinoa,
顺其自然啊，爱熟的晚点放，不爱熟的早点放。
millets. What about the sequence of them? Do you have a requirement? Actually, no.
还有高粱米，哎，就早点放。
还有一个上回为什么？
Usually, we recommend putting the dates and the sorghum rice earlier.
这几个领导啊，打昨天晚上要泡，
你咋感觉像我们是在 PK 呢？
啊，这样子咱就不。
哎，你看这个葡萄干儿特别容易熟，得晚点放。然后呢，我们逐渐要加水，马上就红。下来了，下来了。
Add water.
像大爷多少说的，大爷说的好，我这多吃。这盐枣可以多点，哎，多点。可以看看啊，哎，盐枣起锅。
这个在熬八宝粥的时候呢，我们要是逐渐的要加一些凉水。像刚一开锅就加点凉水，稀一点点。
We have to add some cold water in the process,
然后盖上盖儿，哎，盖儿。
and then tune down the fire, and then put on the cap, the lid, to cook the porridge.
腊八粥呢，它是
The process differs.
你看，比如我们在乡下，家里有很多粗粮杂米，还有一些杂豆。
In the countryside,
都来过年了，
there are a lot of different grains and beans.
稻子粮食啊，可能有各种的豆，各种的米，听出来，正好赶上腊八。
Maybe they have a storage of different types of ingredients from the previous year, so they cook them together for the Spring Festival.
哎，把这些糙的陈粮把它熬进腊八粥，
They collect
准备来年啊，来年
the stored grains together for the porridge
会有
to embrace the new
大
year.
米和小米、黄米啊，还有这个什么。
If they have the rice, it's okay, and if not, they can put in the millets, or the sorghum rice, or the corns as a replacement.
大爷，刚才有网友就好奇啊，就咱们中间浇那勺凉水有什么讲究没有？
Our viewer leaves a question
这个豆呢，它经过冷热激发，这豆很快就开花。
about the different types of
搁
ingredients.
点凉水点一下，
The beans could be easily cooked. We put in some cold water, and the beans will fall down, just like cooking the dumplings. Put the lid on. It's the Great Cold solar term today,
所以说今天正好是个好日子。
and we have a saying that once it's the Great Cold and the Laba Festival, we don't have to worry about food. So it's a good day today, since the porridge is already
下到锅里面炒。
cooked. And
得浇几次？
over there, you can see them cooking the salty porridge. On my side, I'm cooking different ingredients.
呀，不好意思啊，各位。
Now I'm putting them in the glass pot.
有点外露，我们霸气侧漏了，
Sorry for spilling over.
被你说准了。来，给我张纸。然后我们趁这个锅裂之前，得把水浇进去。
Adding in the
玻
water.
璃锅不能干烧，是不是？对，我们得把水先加进去，然后呢，就让它炖就行了。
The glass pot cannot be cooked with no water.
红枣花加进去。
I want to drink some
有
water.
点干。
Add more water in.
对，这个是可以喝的水。你要喝是吗？喝了，给你倒点。好。好，然后把盖子盖上。
您看那边熬的怎么样？
熬得不错。
哎呀，见笑了，见笑了。
Put the lid on.
您这边肯定好喝呀。
你看颜色都很红啊，豆的颜色。
哇，
See, my porridge is turning red.
诱人，这个颜色红红的，对不对？
红红的，
It takes some time,
又养生又补血。
啊，
but ours will be delicious as well.
很好，知道吧
It's healthy and nutrient.
其实这个腊八的腊八节以后，刚才讲大白小
咸咸甜
这个串儿，第二串儿的这个季节呢，你看为什么？你看大爷这梳子不对，然后这个季节是正好是藏的，
哦，然后放点碱
它
的，
需要补血，是吧？然后呢，多吃一些红的食物，啊，你说牛肉啊、羊肉啊。
In this time, it's better to eat some red food, for example, lamb, beef, dates.
红枣啊，是吧？枸杞子啊，是不是？它这胡萝卜呀，它这边
It can enrich your blood
红的食物正好
and also
是吧？所以说要
the red carrot.
这季节是最好的食物。
其实现在啊，就它的养
They're seasonal food in wintertime.
就选择自己爱吃的。
People pay more attention to keeping fitness and being healthy now. Do you know the criteria of being healthy? Take a guess.
快乐了才能健康。
First of all, be happy. Only when you're happy can you be healthy.
第一是好吃，爱吃啊，
对，
啊美食啊。第二啊，吃完了舒服，好吃。
The criteria of healthy food is firstly, you love it, and secondly, feeling comfortable after eating them.
颜色啊越来越好看了啊，
越来越红了，
是不是？越红，就是粘稠了，哎，
The color is turning redder,
熟了。
and the porridge is turning sticky.
再点点水，这个吧，
为什么呢？一上来下午都是稀里糊涂搁这么多，怕浪费。
现在呢是要给它搅和搅和，免得它糊底儿。完了，已经要糊底儿了。
对，我们个人会员。
Let me mix
搅和
it.
搅和，因为平时其实可以
Otherwise, the ingredients will stick to the bottom of the
但
pot.
是这次为了让大家看得清楚一点，我们就用了玻璃锅，是不是？
Actually, I should have used the pressure cooker,
您是
but
真的
now
是对
I'm
熬
using
两
this
个
glass
小时
pot
吧
so
这个
that
要
our viewers can see it more clearly.
对啊，你看，这都是
We don't use the pressure
对
cooker as well.
挂锅
It
熬得
takes
没灵
about
魂是不是？
more than 1 hour for cooking it.
对。
The pressure cooker may cook it quicker and more efficient.
那吃陪着妈妈这儿都一边高了，一块儿干的，啊吃
一块儿
好。
干的，对。他刚才帮我炒的料是不是？是你帮我炒的料，对不对？对，很棒。好久没下厨了。
My son helped me to cook the ingredients.
爷爷好。
He's awesome.
啊，大爷二伯好，我得叫大爷二伯，你叫爷爷，知道吧？
Give your greetings to the
今
two
天这
grandpas.
是难得过节了，然后见了两位新认识的爷爷，是不是？
Since it's a festival time, it's nice to meet two friends. The two grandpas, are you happy?
烤肉很棒。
Of course I am. We also add some meat inside.
把米煮的差不多了，再放这个青豆，因为青豆很容易就煮烂了。这也是我跟大爷二伯学
The
的。
beans must be added later on because it's easier to be boiled.
豌豆射手啊，
There is a sequence of putting in the ingredients.
你给妈妈讲一讲你腊八节的一般都怎么过呀？
Do I look like the bean warrior? Could you please tell others how do you spend Laba Festival? What is Laba Festival? It's just one festival. And how do you spend it, usually?
最给他妈妈的面儿了。
Eating the salty porridge.
喝咸粥，那你喝不喝甜粥啊？
It's very official language.
不喝。妈妈
Do you like
喝
sweet
那
porridge?
等他妈妈做的那个奶
No.
茶怎么办？妈妈自己喝吗？你要不要喝？
Mommy loves the sweet porridge. So what about the milk tea I just cooked? Do you want to join me?
甜粥来做奶茶
Of course.
嘛厉不厉害？厉害。是啊。
I will also drink the sweet porridge later
是我爷爷家。
and cook the milk tea.
这两个爷爷家，但是我觉得有
Mommy, you're great.
做客和他们亲手。
Have you visited the two grandpas' home? Not yet. I want to join them and visit them one day and drink their porridge. Yes. And I can share with you the story of Laba Festival.
这个二伯就会讲。
Wonderful. He loves stories.
爷爷会讲故事哦。
He can tell you.
腊八节都有什么故事呢？啊，
So what's the story of Laba Festival?
一会儿到你讲啊。你可以跟爷爷交
讲
流一下。
讲腊八节的故事。
应该让那谁讲，让大师讲。
啊，大师没讲过。
大师，你会讲吗？你会不会讲？会啊，那你来给我们讲讲。
那就这样，那让大师啊先想想，然后我们这边呢
先想想好不好
分享一下啊，先跟你分享一下我们这甜粥是怎么做的，好吗，大爷？
太棒了！
Could you please firstly share with us the process of making sweet porridge and then the Laba stories? As you can see, that we put a lot of ingredients in the porridge, the beans, dates, walnuts, and so on. The porridge is turning more sticky. Look closely. The beans are opened.
开了。啊，你看啊，我捞出一个炸手捻一下。啊，再瞅一会儿啊。
大爷，咱们这锅粥里边是哪个食材让这锅粥起的黏呀？
江米、大米、小米起黏。它煮的时间越长越黏。
Usually what makes the porridge more sticky? The rice, the millets, and sticky rice.
到一粥饭黏了就不能再加，一加水就泄了，啊，一黏了就不能再加。前期呢就是加水让这豆赶快给它踢开。
Once the porridge turns sticky, you cannot add water anymore. I added several rounds of water so as to boil the beans quicker.
你看刚才大爷，这个腊八粥啊，
What about you,
比较高档一点。
Grandpa? What's your take of cooking porridge? We want to make this porridge delicate and nutritious. For bigger ingredients like the beans and peanuts, you have to dip them in the water on the previous day. So, when you boil them, they could mix together.
但是这些大豆皮呢，头天要泡，泡好了之后，它特别容易烂，是吧？其实这点千万
好，来您做一下。那碱面
And they're easier to cook.
这个不用放，
这个熬粥放碱，我们可以跟网友
可以放，可以不放。哎，
实际上呢，我们过去呀，有些陈米。
What about adding the sodium carbonate flour? Previously, we collected the storage of the grains, and those grains were hard to fall off in the pot. That's why we added some sodium carbonate flour in. But actually, that's not very healthy. Now we add only very little such flour. Sometimes we add the soda water as a replacement. Of course, you can still add in the sodium flour. Some of our viewers may complain about it. For the Laba Festival's porridge, we don't put in the sodium flour, but it depends on your favor. As he just reminded you, the ingredients we put in today are quite commonly seen. We have several types of beans and the quinoa. From the perspective of nutrients, we need to eat diversified collections of food. Sometimes we say that every day we have to eat 20 different types of food. From vegetables, from animals. Since today is the festival, that's why we chose many suitable food. For example, dates, quinoa. Those are proper food for winter time, particularly for the great cold solar term. In the rural areas, when we cook, the porridge is very simple. Just put in some corn, the flour, or the available beans. Sometimes we put in the yam or vegetables in. That's okay. So as I said, we have different types of porridges. You can choose your favorite ingredients. If you like carrots, you can put in carrots as well. Even in our porridge, you cut the carrots into slices and boil them till they are soft, and their nutrients are released into the porridge. If you like beans, like the fresh green beans, you can put them in as well, but put them as the last step. Or the porridge will change color with the bean. As to the flavor, you can change the flavor as well. Salty or sweet, it's up to you. My partner has a program. Let's keep it a secret, so as to surprise you guys.
叫大吃是不是？
围着妈妈，哎，大吃围着妈妈转，其实不是，是妈妈围着大吃转。
哎呦，
Dachi seems to follow the instructions of his mother, but actually, mommy is listening to Dachi.
是你围着妈妈转。
我围着网友转。
Do you listen to mommy? Or vice versa?
我们一起围着网友转。
这人讲究什么大爷？你看，补虚，对，补菜，补果，补骨啊，补菜，你看没有？实际上五谷为什么这里边最重要的是五谷为养，对，对不对？所以说这澳洲。
The 5 great types of grains are the most nutritious ones. So this Laba porridge contains most of the grains. It's very nutritious. Also, we have heard about the porridge cooked with 5 great vegetables. It's also very nutritious. On my side, something special is about the preserved meat from southern China. It's pork. It's very delicious, and I recommend it to you.
大师也很爱吃这个，是不是？
Dachi loves it.
从视觉上颜色美观，是吧？从营养上，也搭配合理。味道呢，盐味为主，咸呢，这粥啊讲喝热粥，甭管什么粥都要喝热粥，一喝凉粥啊这粥。
And as to porridge, hot porridge is the key. Once it's turning cold, it will float on top of your stomach and cannot be digested to the full. I can see that Dutch's mommy knows how to enjoy life and food.
对，特别棒。那今天咱们
Spending Laba Festival is about celebrating the atmosphere.
特别好。他现在准备不跟老伴虎干了，跟爸爸一块干。
哎呀，好开心，是不是？你说欢迎。
My partner wants to quit and join you. We welcome you to be our guest.
下次呢？
好了，但是你可以重新营业了。
哎，
可以跟妈妈一块儿创业了。
跟爷爷一起干，好不好？对啊，爷爷带着你吃更多好吃的，爷爷可是国宴的大厨。对啊，都是你。
You can also join the two grandpas. They are big chefs for the national
你喜欢吃什么
feats.
呀？跟爷爷说。
What's your favorite food?
你也不知道，你也不知道呀？你是不是什么都行？好吃就行。
吃鱼呢，吃肉呢。
I don't know. Once it's tasteful, it's okay, right? Fish, meat.
章鱼小丸子。对，小朋友都爱吃这个。行，我们这个时候。
Children love it, love meat.
我这个米也差不多熬的有点稠了。
Now it's the beans time. My porridge is turning sticky as well. Let's do this together.
我们同步进行啊。
来。
相聚在腊八节啊。
真棒。
咱们有网友说，就是我刚才看见那个。
We gather in this festival.
今天本来刚才正在看咱们腊八粥的这个视频，正在学习呢，没想到直播了。从现场听咱二歪指导。
哦，好。
We're listening to the instructions of you two, and our viewers say it's really a great honor.
其实这个米啊，咱到了一定时候，你刚开始大火也没用，到了一定的年程度，自然就行。
自己刚开始。
自然就行。得等，哎，得等时间啊。什么叫火候啊？就是烹饪的时间的长与短，国与大与小。
Cooking time matters.
有的着急啊，说这粥怎么不粘稠啊？我又加点米，实际上它已经够粘了，但是它就。
If you're too in a hurry, the porridge will not be that sticky. My porridge is about right. Sometimes when it's too sticky, you may want to add in water, but actually to cook porridge, do not add water in the end stage. Once it's turning too sticky, just let it be. Once the porridge is done, enjoy it. Don't wait. It will be more sticky if you wait for some time before eating.
为什么有时候咱不使高压锅呀？就像我们前日子拍那个腊八粥似的。
We don't use the pressure pot.
要有层次感啊，豆呢，各种的豆料。
You need different layers of flavors from the porridge, for example, the beans, the peanuts. But with the pressure pot, you cannot have that.
就是快，
那快，但是快它有一个缺点。 那什么，它不如盐，
对，
是吧？它那个，米是米的，就是那汁是汁儿，是吧？所以说你出来之后还得
再处理块可以啊。
咱们这个得等多久？
大约10分钟到15分钟。
这么快？
因为大人。
但其实
How long do we have to wait? 10 to 15 minutes. We're about ready. What about you? Almost done. 10 more minutes.
我们又就来看一下全国的人民都怎么过这个腊八的，好不好？可 可以，好吧？来，我们来看一眼啊。
So let's see, what about the other places? How do they spend their Laba Festival?
拜拜，你说稍后见。稍后见。你嘴里吃的是什么呀？哦，肉，哦，这个肉，烧肉。对，烧肉。
You're eating the preserved meat.
烧肉切片吃好吃。看这个粥已经非常稠了。
可以走了吗？
等一下，等妈妈跟你一起走，好吧？看这个米已经开花了。
再给我喝一杯。
好，烧肉。
The porridge is almost done.
刚才是倒这一个杯子里吧？
倒这个杯子里也行。好，
两位。
你要不要尝尝里面的这个豆子？其实这豆子应该已经熟了，大吃。你要不要尝尝？妈给你盛出来一点啊。
Do you want to taste the beans? They're already cooked, well cooked.
夸你呢，大吃。阿姨说你特别乖。
花花还要给那个大吃做一个甜品，就是一个奶茶。
对，等下有个奶茶，但估计是我爱吃的那种。大吃它主要还是咸口，是不是？对，直男口味。来吧，你个小豆豆。对，这个得一直搅和着，不然它就容易糊底儿。
Now it's your beans, and I have to keep mixing it.
二班队特别喜欢喝奶茶。
It's very sticky.
电视台的记者王阳，此刻呢，我所处的位置是位于西安的永兴坊。今天呢是腊八节，那么在腊八节当中呢，很多的谚语啊，其中啊最知名的一句就是那一句“小孩小孩
I am in Shanxi.
过了腊八。”
There is an old saying in Laba Festival that is
生动地描述出了这个节日
"Kido
跟吃的
kido,
关系。
don't
那么
be
今天呢，我们来到了
mouth-watering.
汇集
It's already
陕
the
北
festival
温州
after
上海
Laba."
三地非遗美食的永兴坊，在这里呢，来共同感受
We are now in
腊八节
Yongxingfang
这
of
天陕
Shanxi
西各地
Province.
都有哪些特色的美食？那么同时呢，今天也邀请到了来自陕西师范大
Let's
学
see
文学院的教
what
授
are the
李教授
featured food
李教授
for
您好
this day.
你好，主任。你好，大家好。
We have
我是
invited
陕西师范
Professor
大学
Li.
文学院教授李永晴。
李教授，那么
I
今天呢，我
am
们就共同地在永
a
兴坊来
professor,
感受
Li
一下
Yongqing from
陕
Shanxi
西
Normal
各地
University.
在今天会吃到哪些有特色的非遗的这个美食，好不好？好。那么现在呢，我们一起
What
往
are the
前面走。
intangible food
李教
here
授，
in
首先想请
Shanxi?
问
Let's
您
have a
的
look.
是，其实腊八节可能对于我们很多的这个观众朋友来说并不陌生哈。
My
因为在这一
question
天，全国各
is,
地呢都会吃到很有
Laba
特色的
Festival
这个地方的美食。那么在陕西
is，
我们会
a familiar name to our viewers, and there are different types of food and customs to celebrate the Laba Festival. What about Shanxi Province? We fully consider the local customs, and we divide Shanxi Province into northern, middle, and southern part. They boast different customs,
叫什么呢？叫
and they even have different names. Is Laba Mian in middle part of Shanxi, and in southern part of Shanxi Province, we call the porridge 杂合 porridge.
会出现这样的情况。
So they have different food and different names. Why is that in different parts of Shanxi Province? It depends on the climatic conditions and natural conditions.
我这个味道。
Usually they accept the local ingredients,
美食特色。
and also they have different preference of flavors.
多一点，有的可能是杂粮多一些，所以形成彼此不同的这种文化特色。所谓
Some may add more vegetables, some more grains.
哎，那么说话间呢，我们就来到
So
了第
if
一
they
站
have a distance of 10 li, they may have different customs. Now we enter the
这个
first
腊八
stop.
面呢，可能相比于这个腊八粥来说，它可能更具我们陕西的这个特色一点儿。现在我看到我们的师傅这边是正在制作哈。你好，师傅，哎，你好，您贵姓
Our
啊？
chef is cooking.
薛师傅，咱们
Good
现在正在
morning.
制作这个就是
May I
腊八
ask
面
your
是吧
name?
腊八面。
I am Xu. So Madam Xu, you're making the Laba noodles? Yes,
农家的这种风俗小吃。
that's a tradition.
就是说，
It's a popular snack for the countryside.
这意思就是说， 牵长了，到腊月这个过得越来越牵长了。这过户头，过一户头，长一户头，就是意思就是说，太阳过去的人，表，他就是拿那个太阳看那个时间，就是说那过了一户头，就是长一户头，就是长那个户头。
Our ancestors look at the time by looking at the sun.
或者拉长那么一点点。过了腊八，长一差吧，就是咱农村的山关中这带就是以小麦为那个主要的那个粮食。
And the central culture here is to slice up the food and look at the different colors of the food.
稍微等一下，我先给我们观众朋友先翻译一下，因为我们
And
这个
they
刚刚
touch
说到激动之处，就说到了
the hardness of the
关
food
中话。刚刚师傅就提到这个，就说
measure the time spent.
好像是跟这个日头有关系，是不是啊，李教授？
腊八的最主要的两个。
Laba Festival is related with the movement of the sun, right? Yes. After Laba Festival, we enter the preparation time for the Spring Festival. For example, the eve of the Spring Festival, and also after Laba Festival, daytime is longer than the nighttime. So people's shadows are taller. It's very vivid depiction. In the agricultural society, the farmers use a lot of tools and use the shadows of the tools to reflect the change of the time. Speaking of the axis, it's also an integral part of the agricultural society. Yes, it's for cracking the fireworks. The different agriculture tools are a vivid representation of our time passing and our spiritual change. Madame Xu, could you please tell us some stories about the laba noodles?
为了感觉这个节日，它就是因为就是有一个说法，就是过了腊八就是年，所以这是五谷丰登，他把所有的东西全部放在一起，那种一个团团圆圆的那种意思。马上到年了，大家和和美美的团团圆圆的吃一顿面。它这个面长，为什么它长？
Laba has a good meaning. This noodle means we have a get together, and usually we make these noodles very long. It represents long life and long reunion.
这就是用的就是咱农村人种的那个萝卜，这萝卜了，土豆了蒜苗、鸡蛋了这是农村种的那个豆子
，potatoes, tofu, garlic, the beans will be pudding. We grow them by ourselves. And also you can add some meat.
越多越好。
然后把这些一块制作成臊子是吧？
就是给它跟面合在一起。
哎，我看到这边就在这个就是我们制作的臊子这个成品是吧？
是，对。
哇，来看一下，这里真是色香味俱全哈。那现在能不能薛师傅给我们下一点面，我们来尝一下哈。李教授，那么看到这个腊八面
，Now let's have a taste of the noodles.
跟你小时候吃到这个腊八面味道一样吗？
这个跟小时候的味道呢还是有点差别，因为今天的这个
Do you remind you of the flavor
色彩更鲜
of your
艳，
childhood?
调料的更多，所以吃的更鲜美，更自然对，
的确是。那么，哎，我还在这边注意到，那么做好一碗咱们的正宗的腊八面，需要经过多长时间的准备啊？
需要这个时间是还是比较那个，人都是用心去那个，因为马上过年了嘛，人心情都比较兴奋、高兴一点，所以就比较制作也比较麻烦一点。
Since it's approaching the Spring Festival, people are happy.
然后把面擀好以后，然后下到锅里。
And the process is more complex. We cut the noodles and put in the ingredients and mix them together.
胡椒了，这像这个香油了，这都是咱农村那个种的那个油菜，自己磨的那个芝麻，自己磨的菜油，自己磨的那个油菜磨的。这个香油是用咱农村种的那个芝麻自己磨的这种油，然后给它烩在一起。
确是，虽然是用着是最。
And also sometimes we add in the sesame oil.
说到这样一碗腊八面，其实我觉得也承载了很多游子在外对家乡的一种思念，是吗？
对，是，是。
Such a bowl of laba noodles also remind people who are homesick of their homes. It also represents harmony, reunion, a family. It has a very good meaning of building a harmonious society. Speaking of that, I have a question. In northern China, many places eat the porridge. Why noodles here in the middle part of Shanxi province? That's the difference of local customs. We accept whatever we have locally. So we customize the food.
臊子面呢，它是有非常悠久的历史。据我个人考证，它应该是起源于西周时代。所以这种传统呢，在我们关中呢一直延续到这个明清。
现在我们这碗腊八面就已经做好了，我来。
This custom could be found in the Ming and Qing dynasties. The noodles are ready. Now I have a closer look.
隔着口罩，但是我已经闻到了这个香味儿哈。能不能拿双筷子让我品一下呀？麻烦您。您稍等一下，拿一双筷子，我们来尝一下吧。好嘞，好嘞，好嘞。哇，这个腊八面，我觉得跟咱的这个平常吃的这个臊子面可以说是有异曲同工之妙哈。
对，这个腊八面呢，跟我们臊子面呢非常相似，只是腊八面呢，在腊八这一天吃呢，它别有它的
Laba noodle looks quite like 臊子 noodles.
我们现在来等待一下，一会儿来品尝一下这一份腊八面，再给我们吕教授来做一碗吧，好不好？哇，看到他们这个把这些食材啊都罗列得非常清晰，让我们一眼就看出来，做好一碗腊八面需要经过这些食材的准备和经过。
那个有色香味，有各种调料，有颜色，有黄色。
Now please inform us about the steps of making the noodles. You see the different seasonings, the eggs, the tofu.
放一点菜。
Now let me have a taste.
Mm. 我觉得整个吃起来的话，它的口感啊，尤其是面条，因为它是手擀面，所以特别的筋道，而且呢，里面又放了很多的。
Since it's handmade, the noodles are quite chewy, and there are a lot of vegetables and food.
有种鲜美的一种感觉哈。李教授，您来。
It's very fresh.
是您记忆当中的腊八面的味道吗？
我再吃一口。这个味道确实是。
Is it the same as you ate in your childhood?
然后呢，味俱全，
色香味俱全。
From the color and the taste and the smell, it's the same. It differs a little bit because there is something more than when I was young. There are more ingredients, so the flavor is richer.
李教授呢，刚刚是品尝到了这个腊八面，然后也感受到这应该是我们关中的一种庆祝这个腊八节。
So Professor Lee, we just ate the laba noodles. That's the local custom of celebrating Laba Festival in central part of Shanxi province, and we're gonna taste the Zahe porridge. Speaking of the name, what's its relation with Laba Festival? It's closely linked. It's the custom of southern part of Shanxi province.
那现在呢，我们就来到了杂河州这里。
It's about a mixture of grains in the porridge in southern part of Shanxi province. Good morning, mister. I see that you're already boiling the porridge. It's ongoing. I can smell the fragrance. Laba porridge in the southern part of Shanxi province is different from the other places because we add the carrots and the preserved meat in.
这个加了这个腊肉之后，是不是这个味型也有一些变化？
它有腊肉，有肉肯定香嘛，所以说啊，这个腊肉炖出来以后特别好喝。
It must be more fragrant with the meat in. So it's a little bit salty. Yes, it's salty porridge.
好多的这个食材哈，而且咱们这个锅里面琳琅满目的。那咱们做好一份这个杂合粥要用到多少种材料？
分别是就说绿豆呀、红豆呀，还有黄豆、小赤豆，然后玉米，还有青豆，黑米跟那个白米，然后呢就说还要加上说当地的就说红皮萝卜跟那个陕南的腊肉，熬制成一锅，又得给3个小时。
We also add in the carrots.
那今天
We cook it for 3 hours.
一直熬了有早上7点多来的，一直熬到7点
多就已经熬到现在了。
对。
看到这个粥，你也应该特别想品尝一下吧？是不是？
来，我给大家摇上几碗。
好的。而且我还听说在这个粥背后有很多的这个意义跟故事。沈师傅，您能不能来给我们讲一下？
对，就是在我们这个山南的时候熬了这个腊八粥之后，吃完了之后要给这个果树，周围给它加些，比如这个黑桃树，你盘卷，你给它放些倒银子之后，把那个腊八粥舀在里头。还教这个小孩一个歌谣，就是大徐小徐吃腊八，来年结一大抓。基本上都用在这里。
Usually in the snowy season, we eat laba porridge. According to my understanding, he was saying that in southern part of Shanxi province, not just people eat the porridge, and also they dip the branches with the laba porridge. What's the meaning of that? It represents a good harvest in the next year.
吃这个腊八粥不光要给人吃，还要给树吃。您觉得这个在背后有着什么样的这个意义？
So the trees enjoy the laba porridge. Mr. Li, what's your take on that? It has profound meaning. They put some porridges on the branches, so the birds may eat the porridges, and the animals living on the land can eat the porridges. We are sharing food with all creature. All creature are equal. That's the spirit of sharing and building a harmonious world. That's the unique culture of the Chinese people. So from the cuisine, we reflect the traditional Chinese culture. Professor Li, now let's have a taste of the porridge, the salty porridge.
这个粥应该也熬了3个多小时了。这个跟全国其他地方腊八粥相比，有独特的风味，有独特的地方。
It's cooked for more than 3 hours.
你看这个我们关中这个臊子面是酸辣香。
It's fragrant and salty, unlike the other places. The noodles we tasted was sour and fragrant, but in this porridge it's salty, and I can taste the flavor of the preserved meat. Also, I can smell the chopped green onions. You can only taste such a porridge in our place. Since it's already boiled for 3 hours, it's very rich. I can taste even the flavor of the seasonings. Since the preserved meat is here, it's really the highlight of this porridge. With the onion and the preserved meat, the flavor is richer. Thank you for the porridge. So just now we had a taste of the porridge, and it has a very good meaning.
光是我们人吃好，更多的是要不能忘了这个啥呢？还有其他人，还有其他动物。
Not just the people eat the porridge. All creatures eat the porridge. That's why in ancient China we have a good spirit of sharing the porridge with others. We want all Chinese people accessing the porridge. That's the sharing spirit. It really echoes the spirit of building community with shared future for mankind. So just now we enjoyed the flavors from central and southern part of Shanxi province. The left is about the northern part of Shanxi province. It also has some featured food. Now please take us in. Hello, Mr. Zhao. What food have you prepared for this festival? We have the steamed rice. We also have the niancha rice. How do you cook the steamed rice? We put pumpkins, dates, red beans, peanuts together and mix them. After 2 hours of steaming on a small fire, the porridge is done. We call this porridge steamed rice. What ingredients do you use? Like I said, millets, pumpkins, beans, peanuts. And some local food, like dates. How much time do you cook? 2 hours. If it's too long, then it's overcooked. It's already placed there. Yes, it's done. Please have your seat. We have a dining room in northern part of Shanxi province. This is our dining room. In the daytime, we use this to welcome our guests, but in the nighttime, that's actually our bed. We talk and eat on this bed. Yes. This must be the porridge you're talking about. Yes. I can see the pumpkins and the millets. Yes, different types of grains. What's the customs of eating the food? Since it has a good meaning, representing a good year in the future, a good harvest, so we put in a lot of ingredients. We hope that in the next year we could have a good harvest. Professor, northern part of Shanxi eats different porridges from other places. Just now, the southern part of Shanxi province eats the dark-colored porridge, but now in northern Shanxi province, the ingredients in the porridge include pumpkins, and it's yellow in color. Like our chef said, we cook the porridge for 2 hours, at least. In the ancient society, we eat the porridge silently. So that's why we call this porridge steamed rice. And in the Chinese pronunciation, it's men fan. Men means being silent. And this porridge has a good signal of a good harvest in the next year and a reunion of family members. Now let's have a taste.
好像就是这个咸菜好。
那我先做这个试一下。
And let's eat the porridge together with the dishes. It's sweet. The color is yellow, and it's sticky, and it's sweet. It's sweet because of the pumpkins. It's totally different from the previous one. The flavor is natural. We add no sugar in. The sweetness comes from the pumpkin. So it's very original. Thank you for your time, Mr. Zhao. So today we have tasted 3 food from 3 parts of Shanxi province. In the opening, we tasted the noodles, and then this porridge from southern Shanxi province, and finally the porridge from northern Shanxi, all of which represent different local customs within Shanxi province, and they also represent good meanings. As to the main meanings, in general, in the food of Laba Festival, firstly, they represent our memories of our ancestors in the agricultural society. Those food usually represent a good harvest in the next year. After all, in ancient China, we were an agricultural society. And secondly, the Laba food is to embrace the new year, so it must has a good meaning of family reunion. And thirdly, the Laba food represent the sharing spirit. Dear CCTV viewers, welcome to my turn in Yunnan. We're by the side of Dianchi Pond. We're now in the yard of a family of Bai ethnicity. I'm wearing the local costume. There are 26 ethnicities in Yunnan province, and every ethnicity wears different costumes and eats different food. The culture is being integrated between different ethnicities. So today, let's have a taste of the Laba Festival in this ethnicity. This is Madam Yang and Mr. Wang. Please say hello. Good morning, everyone. Madam Yang represents Bai ethnicity. I am from Xizhou Township. I'm also from Bai ethnicity. How about Mr. Wang? I'm from Pu'er, from Yi ethnicity. So 3 ethnicities among us. Today we're going to broadcast how do you spend Laba Festival. In such an ethnic yard, we will enjoy the festive atmosphere. This yard is like a garden. During the festivals in Yunnan province, usually the countryside is most festive, because the countryside will carry on the majority of the local culture and customs. For example, the traditional architecture and the yard. We will try our best to add in the festive flavor in the yard. Our chef is making something. Have a guess? He's pickling the meat, pickling the ribs. Sometimes in the Laba Festival, we have to pickle a lot of meat, like even the preserved meat with traditional techniques. After all, when it's Laba Festival, the Lunar Chinese New Year is around the corner. In the countryside, we have some cuisine culture, and we carry it down between generations. And then we can enjoy the meat throughout the year once it's made in the Laba Festival. As to the making skills, we can learn from our chef. Could you do your self-introduction? I'm from Huizi, Qujing Huizi of Yunnan Province. Are you making ribs? We are pickling the Lapai pig from Lijiang. Could you give us more information? We pickle the meat, and then we can eat it throughout the whole year. According to Mr. Chef, this meat will be eaten throughout the whole year. What's the seasonings? Salt, peppers, and you put them in the meat. Yunnan has another specialty, the hams. Dali's hams are very popular. In Sichuan province, sausages are popular, but in Yunnan, hams are dominant. It's because of the local climate. In northern China, it's very cold outside, but as you can see, it's all green in this yard. That's a small piece of farmland, and our chef is picking the vegetables. We cannot see this scene in northern part of China in wintertime. She's picking the caraways. It's really rarely seen in northern China to see such green vegetables on tables. I can also smell alcohol. Yes, that's wine. Now let's look this way. That's the hams. They made the hams since Laba Festival. And it lasts until the end of the Spring Festival. Before the end of the Spring Festival, we have to complete the process of slaughtering the pigs. We really highlight the time points of different solar terms. It will differ. It will change the flavor of the meat if it's made in different solar terms. On the hams, we can see the white color. That's the moment. After 1 year, the ham will have rich flavor with the white color. It doesn't mean it goes bad. That's the sausage. Unlike Chongqing and Sichuan provinces, here we mix tofu with the meat to make the sausages. Yunnan has our own making technique. In each ethnicity, we mix tofu with the grinded meat, and we wrap them up. What about by ethnicity? Laba is after all solar term. In by ethnicity, we are also home to the Buddhism, so we highlight rituals. For example, we light up the incense in the morning and we pay our tribute to the god. And also we have our own temples. We have a lot of rituals. When we get up in the morning, we started lighting the incense, and then it's the festive time. We start to prepare for the Spring Festival by purchasing food. And during the solar terms of great cold, we don't farm anymore. We start to visit our families and relatives. What about e-ethnicity? Quite similar to the other ethnicities, we start to procuring the food for the Spring Festival. On the eve of the Spring Festival, we start to make baba with the sticky rice. Killing the pigs is another preparation for the Spring Festival. In e-ethnicity, we also prepare for the festival with some songs and dances. That's about us. I can only give you a brief introduction today. There are more. Now let's keep observing the food. That's the preserved goose, right? Yes. Most of those preserved food are made during the 12th month of the Lunar Calendar. Now he's making preserved pork. Now let's move on. After killing the pigs, the whole pig will be made for use of. Different parts of the pigs will be made for different purposes. What about the other parts instead of the sticky pork? Now let's get inside to find more. That's the boilie, the beef stew. It's a must for the Spring Festival. Nianzhu tastes good. Now let's have a tour. That's the crispy pork slices. It's also a must food for the Spring Festival. That's our local vegetable called doujin. It only sprouts during the 12th month of the lunar calendar. We cook it together with the crispy pork slices. That's the soup, right? Yes. That's 脆锅 soup. We will see it on the table when it's done. I see you're using some charcoal for cooking. Yes, we make it together with 脆锅. So is 脆锅 already prepared? I think it's already put there. Let's find out. Now let's move over there. This is a yard for by ethnicity. It's quite special. This yard is big. It takes about 12.8 mu. Is it the biggest one among the ethnicity? Actually, among the preserved yards, it's the biggest one, the most complete. In Dali, you can see the walls. Once you enter into the yard, you can see the walls decorated. And among the common people, this yard is quite delicate. You can see the copper utensil. Your first impression may be that it's a hot pot, but we call it 炊锅 in Yunnan province. It looks almost the same with the hot pot. It's different because of processing food. In northern China, we just dip the vegetables or food in the hot pot. Now let's get this lid open. But for our food, we just steam them in for longer. The vegetables are dipped at the bottom layer, and then seafood, meat on the bottom layer, and also mushrooms. We use chicken soup or the other bone soup to be boiled here in this pot. With our naked eyes, we can see that it's colorful. And unlike the hot pot, our food are steamed inside, so in the end of this meal, it's even fresher. That's the cabbage, that's hams, mushrooms or meat. It's very fragrant. So there are several layers of food. On the bottom, it's vegetables mostly, like glass noodles. We only put in very small portion of meat because during the Spring Festival we already have enough meat among the dishes. That's why we put in vegetables more in this pot. The soup is very delicious. I can smell it. Since it's outdoor, the smell is very strong. Usually when we open the lid of a pot with the chicken soup in, it's very fragrant. Since we are eating in the yard, we try to keep the original flavor of the food. I think this pot is a must in Dali. Yes, when I was young, we had this. From the look of it, it made us feel warm. And this pot is kept in every home. It represents a better life. That's the dairy fans. There are several ways of eating the dairy fans, frying it or baking it. I can eat it raw when I was young. Dairy fan is a local specialty in Dali. The making is quite complex. We need a lot of dairy. In the interest of time, we will only show this much. Because of the epidemic, many people are still working elsewhere. They cannot return back home. We hope that with this program, we can bring them the taste of home. We can take back the hams. Even though you cannot make it home, you can still taste the flavor of your home. So happy Festival of Laba. This is the end of this portion. Now let's look at Laba Festival in
各位央
Tianjin.
视新闻网友，大家好！你现在正在我们的这个家宴的桌子上。
Dear viewers of CCTV, you are now joining me on the table. We are now in Tianjin. I am your reporter Wang Shuo. That's our guest. Since it's Laba Festival today, we know that it's quite approaching the Spring Festival. Today we bring you so many food. We have porridge, vinegar, and carrot here. Carrot is for soup. Once it's Laba Festival, some of the local specialty in Tianjin is about cooking the shawo carrots, and the carrots taste the best at this moment. That's why every year at this moment, the carrots are placed on the table. Now I will take you to have a look at us pulling out the carrots. We are now in Xiqing district of Tianjin City. This is shawo, and all of those are shawo carrots. Those are the genuine shawo carrots produced in Tianjin. We're gonna pull the carrots fresh from the soil. Today's picking has invited Mr. Guo with us. Hello, how many carrots are we trying to pick today? We want to cook 4 to 5 dishes with the carrots. So we will pick the carrots and then we dry them, dry the peels, and then we will use the vinegar to dip the slices of the carrots, and also we make the porridges and pickle the carrots and preserve the carrots with meat. Why is shawo carrot a specialty here in Tianjin? Because we have good water condition and fertile soil. You see, the majority of the carrots are growing above the soil. The root is about 4 to 5 inches under the earth. Since we have a big temperature difference in the daytime and at night, so it's very sweet. And it's crispy and fresh. Swirl it and it will get off easily. You see, only this small portion is under the earth. For such a thin root, it can be very stable growing in the soil. And this part on the above is most delicious. The bottom isn't tasteful. We can cut it into slices or cook it into soup. And the peels of the carrots could be pickled. Carrots will taste spicy, of course. How many carrots do we need for the dishes today? 5 to 6 will be enough. Where do we store the carrots? Refrigerate it. You can keep it for 2 months. And the longer you keep it, the more tasteful they will be. If you keep it in the refrigerator for a dozen of days, it will taste better. That's a very interesting technique. Because if the temperature is kept at a certain level for some days, the water is dried a little bit and the sweetness will increase. Now is the best season to eat the carrots. How do we choose good carrots? Almost every one of them tastes good. This one looks fine. It's very fresh. You can listen to the sound of knocking it. Let's find smaller ones. Which one is suitable for eating them raw? In Tianjin, we have a custom eating the carrots with the tea, hot tea.
到家了，叫萝卜，萝卜就热它，大伙儿怎么吃呢？其实辣萝卜它就热它才好了，扒些皮儿弄些刀，轻轻地夸一下。我告诉大伙儿怎么吃。
It's better to eat spicy carrots with hot tea.
我们吃完这个天津特有的冬季限定的萝卜宴之后，我们还可以再把这个萝卜，就是就着晚上的这个。就热它。
In Laba Festival in Tianjin City,
吃外皮儿，洗完了把外皮儿夸一下。
we can eat different types of carrots in different ways.
世界辣汁来壶茶水。你看呐，带着大伙看看。
We peel it off.
这个世界这地方，甜辣壳。
You can hear the sound of it.
对，你看看。连皮可以吃。
It's both sweet and spicy. You eat the top of the carrots.
辣味消失匀分。
It's crispy and sweet and spicy. To be honest, I don't taste spicy with the first bite, but then the spicy flavor lingers on my tongue and is very crispy and fresh. Yes, indeed. That's about shower carrots. Let's take the carrots back to cook the dishes. It's very tasteful. Can you hear the crispy sound? That's the thing about the carrots. Take another one.
借着阳光让它看得更清楚一些。
这叫脆嫩多汁。
感觉出来了，腊八期间的这个沙肉萝卜的确是。
It has a lot of juice.
这个你看咱这萝卜嘛，拌成丝儿，汤萝卜丝儿，跟这腊八也有。
It looks good and it tastes good.
汤胡萝卜一拌，这辣可好，消食晕倒，下酒好菜。
天津人真幸福，在腊八的时候会有这样的独享的美味。
And also in Tianjin, we eat the carrots while we drink alcohol. You're very lucky to have such delicious food. Now let's get back to the kitchen. And let's see how to cook the dishes with the simple ingredients. Welcome back to the kitchen. The next step is to cook the carrots for Laba Festival. The carrots are already cleaned. It's greener. The head and the end are already taken off. We only eat the middle part. Hello there. You're wearing red? Yes, it's festival. In Laba Festival, we eat the laba vinegar and the porridge. Those two are a must. What are you preparing? That's the appetizer, eating the skin of the carrots. I'm very curious. The skin are cut in a very beautiful shape. How to cut it? It works like this. It's very crispy.
小的话呢，就是差不多是差不多就10块钱硬币那么大小吧。对。
The sizes are about the size of a 1 RMB yuan coin.
非常受欢迎的小凉菜，对，尤其是特别下酒，因为它口感比较。
It's a very popular appetizer in northern China. You can eat it with the alcohol because it's spicy. And now, since it's Laba season, the carrot tastes the best. So is the skin. It's good for digestion. And we keep the sweetest part of the carrot to cook other dishes. That's the result of wisdom